Okay, so taking a look at the macro line by Lumion Lighting being the largest of the three options for the Quick Connect series. So again, the Quick Connect is the quick connection that comes on the back of these modules. It has the wire lead, the little brass nut and everything. So you can, the idea with the Quick Connect, as mentioned before, is you can morph that into a number of different fixtures for different applications or different reasons. Again, going on scale. So, you know, we've talked about nano, we talked about micro, you know, kind of like that, the nano is like that MR8, sub MR8 size. Micro is that MR16, but it's really like an MR11 size fixture with just fantastic performance characteristics to it and luminosity, lumen outputs. The macro is going to be the next size up. So you're looking at like that, again, 800 and 900 lumen output range and something that large right there. So what you see here is a module. The way it would come out of a box would be with the brass nut and the wire lead. You have the PVC, you have the PVC sleeve, excuse me, the silicone ring or collar that actually goes into, it's designed to go into the PVC sleeve. So a lot of times if you're not needing that, you just take it off and put it off to the side. And now you have just the brass module. This is just a protector for the glass. So in shipping, it doesn't get jarred and damage anything. But some of the things to note about the macro module is that on this guy, you can actually take off the lens, the interior gasket, and then if I give this guy a little bit of a turn, the optics are interchangeable. Okay, so now you've got all of these parts and pieces, and you can take out, let's say, a 40-degree optic, and you can put in a 15-degree optic or a 60 or back to the 40, whatever you're needing. So the optics are interchangeable on these fixtures, which is really neat. So putting this guy back again, it's one single source LED. We're going to put this guy back into here. There we go. Give it a little turn, locks it into place. Get your O-ring back on there. Okay, and your glass piece. Now what I can do, what I can build out of this module, set this aside for just a moment and bring over the top layer of the macro display case. You'll notice all your main hardscape light options that are available in the nano, they're available in the micro, and now they're also available in the macro. And again, this is a newer line to the Quick Connect system. So you see some options here that we may not just have on the shelf, or they're soon to be released from Lumion Lighting. And those are just going to be options for pendant lights, different accessories to block light, lenses, and that sort of a thing. So that's what you might not be seeing here immediately today, but you're going to get the idea of what you can do with this macro line. So let's say I have my little nano fixtures are going to be around for like secondary pathways and walkways. My primary walkways are leading to the front door, those sorts of things. Maybe you have the micro series for that. Now you have driveways. And if you're trying to keep that same theme across the entire design and having maybe indicator lights or lights that are leading you to a destination spot or destination point, you might just step up the size. So on the driveway, rather than using a micro or a nano, of course, the scale is different, so I would use the macro. So here's the square throughway opening. And that guy just threads right onto there. Absolutely amazing. How clean, simple, gorgeous, sleek, beautiful, whatever you want to call it, robust. This is a great light. So that's your three-way opening, brass top, squared shape. You know, some of the other options, let's set this here for a moment. You got your round half moon that you can use again down to the ground or on a hardscape. You don't have to use these in a vertical application. You can use these in a horizontal, whatever you need. These are able to be used in that application. 360-degree opening. You have both your round and your square top, just standard open up lights for well light situations. And if you need glare control, you would go to the eyelid version here. That's just going to block off the glare rather than looking down in the lens. And then the all wonderful, mighty powerful eyelid options, both in square and also round. And the idea with this is the cutoff is just enough to where a lot of the light still is going to shoot out and up. So you're also going to push out this way. But as soon as I rotate that, if you're the viewpoint and I'm the statue, or if I'm the tree or whatever you're lighting up, you no longer have any glare there. That's the point of those shrouds. And unlike this, where it may or may not be a tripping hazard, this is not. So it all depends on application, right? And that's why there's so many different options with this line, because there's countless applications. But the really neat thing is it's not a different fixture. It's the same fixture, different accessory. Think of Lumion Quick Connect modules. The heart of the fixture is the actual LED module, and you just build around it whatever you want. Whatever you can think of, there's some standard options that are out there. I invite people to always take pictures, send them to us, and I like to show other customers, hey, look, this is what Jeremy over here came up with for this application. Look at, he used these two accessories and made this fixture for this application, whatever the case may be. It just gives people more ammunition to go out there and do better and better work. So pretty neat stuff. What you're able to do with the macro is not only use them as a hardscape situation, but now you can also use these things. Same scenario where I have my wire lead that goes up into here. So just get that out real quick here. I'm going to assemble this the way that you would expect to see it out of a box, brand new, not just out of this demo case. So let's put that protector back on there. I should have slipped that sleeve over there, but that is how it comes out of the box right there. Now you take that module, maybe I wanted to make a hardscape light out of it by using these accessories here. Maybe I have a very large tree that I want to use a hanging pendant light. So what you can do is take this wire lead, take the nut off, you feed that through there, the wire lead through the hanging module, you thread that onto that. Now that turns that into a whole hanging pendant light. And what I don't have in this kit here in front of us today are all the different options for the pendant light shroud. So like the short shroud that just finishes off the edge, so a nice little bevel, but now you have this larger, more robust, higher lumen output hanging pendant light, all the way up to the variable holes and everything else that come with this as well, as far as the shroud accessories go. So tons of options there. In addition to that, there's also another accessory. Of course, it doesn't want to fit in a small case, so the one piece that's not shown here is a simple 6-inch PVC, extruded PVC can that this assembly snaps into. So we've all seen well lights. So you have the 6-inch round ABS can that this snaps into, so it's a very nice, clean top. And you take your module with your clear lens, you screw that right onto there. Now I've just morphed this into a completely adjustable well light. So for the purposes of looking at it, I'm going to set this aside for a moment. And let's get a good top-down view of what I'm going to describe to you here. So now I've got this module mounted into the well light accessory top. All stainless steel hardware between the beauty ring and what's known as a gimbal. And what this does is this allows you to have complete control over the height of the LED. So as I tighten these two screws, it will bring up the LED module closer to the surface of the well light top, or if I loosen them, it puts it further away. So you don't notice the light that's down in the well light here. I can screw just one of these sides in and leave the other one where it's at, and I can adjust the angle of it. So it's a very, very versatile well light. And then there's all kinds of different options now. Flipping this guy over, you'll see that there's a mounting hole here, 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 and here. So 4 corners of that oval opening. And there's different options that set in there and screw in. So now you don't have to have just an open top. Those options come in from the back side, but then they're going to give you a nice flush, either louvers or just an oval glass opening, but it's all flush. So nothing, no debris or anything is going to get down in that can. So it's another really neat feature of the macro, as well as you can do that with a micro. So the difference is just the gimbal is a different diameter set up for the micro module, but this happens to be the macro that we're talking about here. The other thing that this case comes with, taking this apart for a moment, is going to be the lower section of this case is going to have some of your shrouds over here. So I mentioned having the hanging pendant light, and I should have shown that a moment ago. A better time than now. So for like a larger pendant light hanging down, something like that, whether it's out of a structure or out of a tree, again, using the accessory that mounts to that, so you can actually hang it by that accessory right there. Some of these guys here, so if you don't want any light coming out the bottom, but you just want the internal side of this thing to glow, and maybe you have that RGBW module in there, you can actually just take that cap right there and you screw it onto the bottom, and that seals the whole thing off. Or you have the option of putting different lenses in here, like a frosted lens, honeycombs, or anything else, and then this guy right here just screws in, just a lens retainer, and that holds the lens in right there as well. So some pretty neat things in this line of the macro. Some of the things that are in here, in addition to those shrouds, the Macro Pro, the module looks exactly like this guy here. This is a macro core in that it doesn't, it's not adjustable. You can't dim it down. You can't change, RGB colors on it. You can't adjust the white Kelvin temperature. But the Macro Pro you can. So again, it's just, if you want your case loaded up with a Macro Pro and a remote to show your customers, you can do that. Visually, they look exactly the same. When you get to the macro modules, one of the cool benefits of it is it's large enough to hold the technology that's needed to not only do Kelvin temperature correction, and dimming, but also RGBW options as well. So now that one module, you can have it do Kelvin temperature correction and dimming, as well as RGBW all in one module. So pretty neat options there. And again, we have the same beauty rings as you had and you saw in the Micro series. So now you can take one of these tops and it just drops right down in there, and you could put this in a lawn area or something. And the whole concept is you just don't have blades of grass growing up and over the actual LED fixture here. So that's just one of the macro tops that you can use in that situation there. Not really part of the Quick Connect system, but it does come in your macro case because it's the same class fixture. In other words, it's the same lumen output, the same idea. It's going to be your D6B1 spotlight. This is again a newer spotlight now available in the Pro and also the Core. And I mean, you're looking at an actual stake-mounted spotlight. So if you don't have you need something like this with that kind of power and those capabilities, stake-mounted, so you can actually adjust it. Then you just move into the spotlight. And so for the spotlight, you can take the shroud, you can rotate it 360 degrees to block glare from any angle. But some of the really neat things about the spotlight, again, solid brass construction, all machined, by the way. D-bird. I mean, really important things to know for your installers or anybody else that are on the job site. You're never going to cut yourself on these fixtures. Very nice beveled edges. A lot of care is put into these products. So you take off your lens retainer. You can actually just change the optics by changing out, and these all come with it. So 15 degree, 30 or 40 degree. Pardon me for not knowing that at 100%, but I want to say it's actually 40 degree or 60 degree optics that just go in there. And then one of the really cool things about this fixture, in addition to all that, see, serviceability is important. So if you go out to a job site and you've got fixtures you're going to put in, knowing that you can go there, and if there was a failure, whether it's because of a product failure, we don't see very often, installation error, whatever the case may be, it's forgiving. So even these spotlights, even though it's not part of the quick connect system, being that there's no quick connect on the end here, it's just stake mounted. You take that module, you unplug it, take this module, bring it into your distributor, preferably Sonoran lighting supply, and you can swap that out for a new one. Just plugs right in. That guy goes back down on the fixture. Put the lens of your choice because it does come with all the different options here. Put your retainer back on. It is also O-ring sealed, and that's your glass. And then put your shroud back on. For convenience reasons, again, trying to keep like products, trying to keep some similarity between, when you look at the Nano, it's the same LED module, and you morphs into all these different fixtures. When you look at the Micro, it's the same LED module, but it morphs into all these fixtures. You look at the Macro, same LED module, morphs into all these different fixtures. It's really important to have, to me anyways, it makes a lot of sense, and it's important to have that constant as far as for service reasons. You know that if it's a Nano, Micro, or Macro, there's only 3 different modules you got to worry about. Now what beam spread and Kelvin temperature and wattage, those are different things, but you just know exactly what you're going to get. And if you have any job documentation of something that you've installed in the years previous, you're going to know exactly what's out there, and that's never going to change. So for serviceability reasons, so simple. The reason I bring that up is if you needed a big wash light, stake mounted wash light, guys, it's this easy. It's a different model number and they come complete, but the only difference is the shroud. So now there you go. Now you have a high intensity, high output wash light capable of 900 lumens, dimmable, RGB controlled, whatever technology you need built into that. The options are out there, but same LED source, same knuckles, same threads, dimensionally the same, with the difference is the shroud itself. So that's a really quick overview of the Macro line, as well as some of the stake mounted brass options that kind of go along with the Macro line. Let us know if you have any questions on any of these cases. Again, several benefits to these things. One is it gets you familiar with the product. If you have a sales team or a design team, having these cases on the shelf so they can go to them and design what they need. All the part numbers are located here. We have a visual of the part and the product. So if 5 or 6 things get taken out, you can look at the visual and just send it right back to where it goes in the right nesting area of the case. But to really dial your projects in, these cases are awesome. Not only for your team, maybe for yourself, or to take out to your customers to show them the options that you can do as well. This case builds excitement, it builds confidence, and what's better than that? So let's dive into a few, we're looking at these cases now. Some people look at this line and say, man, there's just so many parts and pieces. How do we keep track of it? Well, again, everything's labeled, I said a moment ago. So that's easy to keep track of. The website, everything that they have is easy to to figure out, a roadmap of how to build a fixture. But we've created like that basic 5 fixture package and bundled things together and brought you a really simple part number.